Welcome to Last Evidence, where every story is a case, and every case leaves something behind. If you haven't yet, subscribe and turn on notifications. This is the place for real horror stories, mysterious incidents, and unexplained cases documented with chilling detail. Every guest who entered the motel sensed something before seeing it, a heavy stillness, as if the air itself held its breath. Dimly lit hallways, worn carpets, and the flickering neon sign outside all suggested normalcy, but the reality was far from it. Staff refused certain rooms after sunset, and guests left abruptly, claiming unseen presences that defied explanation. The motel itself looked ordinary: beige walls, standard furniture, flickering lights. Yet the ordinary facade hid something profoundly unsettling. Guests often discovered items moved, beds disturbed, or cold drafts sweeping through areas without vents. One room in particular stood out, room 306. Guests consistently reported experiences impossible to reconcile with reality, while staff logs often conflicted with guest accounts. The door appeared normal, the lock standard, yet cleaning schedules didn't match reported activity. The first documented complaint came from a man named Harris. Traveling for work, he booked room 306 for a single night. Upon entering, the bed appeared slept in, linens disturbed, a pillow folded, yet no one had checked in prior. The room was empty. Cleaning logs confirmed it. Nobody had entered in over 24 hours. At first, Harris dismissed it: exhaustion, imagination, or fatigue. But the feeling of being watched persisted. Shadows lingered in corners. Objects subtly shifted when he looked away. A chair rotated slightly. A lamp tilted. Around 2:00 a.m., Harris heard footsteps on the floor above, though no rooms were occupied there. Deliberate, measured steps echoed. Checking the peephole revealed nothing. Footsteps continued for several minutes, fading abruptly. He tried calling the front desk dead line. The emergency phone worked, but only static came through. Temperature dropped sharply, his breath visible in the air. A faint whisper murmured warnings he could not decipher. At dawn, Harris spoke with the night manager, who seemed dismissive. The manager shrugged, noting the room acted strangely and advised discretion. Harris left, disturbed, compelled to document his experience. Before we continue, if you're following this case, like this video and subscribe to Last Evidence for more real horror cases, mysterious incidents, and chilling encounters. Your support helps us uncover the unexplained. Subsequent reports echoed similar phenomena. Guests entering room 306 noticed doors opening on their own, objects subtly displaced, cold drafts sweeping unexpectedly, and the pervasive sense of being watched. One young woman described her reflection in the mirror as incomplete, part of her image obscured, a shadow standing between her and the glass. She heard faint whispers urging her to leave. The door, locked from the inside, remained inexplicably secure. Another couple found the bed occupied not by a person, but by the impression of someone recently seated. Pillows indented, blankets shifted. Attempting to capture this on camera proved futile. Devices malfunctioned, producing only static or distorted visuals. The ordinary motel had become the epicenter of unexplainable activity. Room 36 grew in legend, a location both within and outside reality. Guests felt the lingering presence of something unseen, while staff hesitated to enter after dark. The room had become a question mark in itself, a place that defied logic and left a lasting impression on anyone who encountered it. Staff at the motel had long been aware that room 306 was unusual, though most preferred to remain silent. Housekeepers frequently reported oddities: beds disturbed even when unoccupied, towels folded into precise but impossible shapes, and sudden cold drafts in areas without vents. Many refused to clean the room after dark, claiming shadows flickered unnaturally and faint whispers echoed through the empty space. Maria, a junior housekeeper, was assigned to room 306 for the first time. Approaching cautiously, she noticed the corridor lights flickering as she neared the door. The room appeared normal, bed made, furniture in place, but the air felt heavy, suffocating even, and a faint metallic smell lingered. As Maria bent to pick up a towel, she glanced at the mirror. Part of her reflection was obscured. Something seemed to stand between her and the glass. A faint whisper drifted from the corner, unintelligible but unmistakably human. The temperature dropped sharply. Goosebumps rose along her arms. Stepping back, the doorknob rattled violently. Lights flickered again. Shadows stretched along the floor, moving independently of any natural light source. Heart racing, she fled the room. The hallway appeared normal, yet Maria felt the oppressive presence follow her. The night manager, after multiple staff complaints, decided to review security footage. Hoping to find a rational explanation: a prank, a trespasser, or mechanical malfunction, he discovered something far more disturbing. Cameras showed the door of room 306 opening and closing on its own at irregular hours. Shadows moved across the floor without any visible source. Doors slammed abruptly. Footsteps were heard in audio recordings, moving toward the room and stopping suddenly, yet no figure appeared on camera. Motion sensors inside the room triggered repeatedly between 2:00 a.m. and 4 a.m., matching reported times of strange activity. Hallways remained empty. The night manager grew uneasy but hesitated to involve authorities, fearing damage to the motel's reputation. Eventually, escalating complaints prompted a police investigation. Officers arrived, reviewing guest logs and security footage. Room 36 was thoroughly inspected. The door was unlocked, opened, and the room appeared normal. Bed neatly made, lamps functioning, no signs of disturbance. Yet officers noticed anomalies. Air was unusually cold. Shadows lingered unnaturally in corners. A faint metallic odor persisted. One officer, documenting the scene, swore he saw a shadow in the corner, but turning revealed nothing. Cleaning logs indicated the bed had been slept in, despite no registered guest. Furniture placement was subtly altered. Security footage contained visual distortions, fleeting human-like shapes, vanishing the instant observed. Attempts at overnight monitoring included additional cameras and motion sensors. Anomalies persisted. Devices malfunctioned, batteries drained, memory cards corrupted, lights flickered in impossible patterns. The room seemed to resist observation. Further unsettling evidence appeared. A photograph left by a guest depicted the empty room. Bed made lamps on, but subtle differences existed. Chair rotated slightly. Window open when previously closed. Dates on photos spanned decades, some predating the motel's construction. Fingerprints could not be matched to any guest, staff, or investigator. Guests continued reporting encounters, fleeting figures in the hallway, whispers calling names, shadows leaning over them while asleep. Attempts to capture these on personal cameras failed. Devices malfunctioned, memory cards corrupted, batteries drained inexplicably. The legend of Room 306 spread online and offline. Staff discussed the room quietly. Management officially closed it, yet activity persisted. Stories suggested an unseen intelligence, observing and interacting in subtle, terrifying ways. The police investigation, though thorough, yielded no explanation. Room 306 remained an anomaly, observed, documented, yet ultimately unexplainable. Shadowy figures, inexplicable temperature drops, moving objects, and auditory anomalies continued to haunt guests and staff alike. Those experiencing Room 306 consistently described oppressive, heavy air, subtle but deliberate object movement, whispers that felt intelligent, shadows lingering unnaturally, feeling of being watched, even alone. The room became a nexus of unexplained activity. Guests ignored cautions, drawn by curiosity or disbelief. Staff avoided the room entirely after dark. Room 306 was not just a location, but a phenomenon, a place outside conventional understanding, where reality and something darker intersected. Even after the police investigation, Room 36 continued to defy logic. Guests who stayed afterward often reported experiences far more intense than previous accounts. Objects would vanish, then reappear in impossible places. Clothing left on chairs could be found neatly folded on the bed. Doors closed silently behind no one, and the faint smell of mildew mixed with metallic notes like iron lingered in the air. One of the most chilling pieces of evidence came in the form of notes. A guest discovered a small, folded piece of paper under the pillow. Yellowed and brittle, ink faded with age. It read simply, "Do not stay after midnight." No signature, no date. Housekeepers and previous guests denied leaving it. Yet the note appeared repeatedly, often in different corners of the room, as though it moved on its own. Another guest had attempted to record the noises in Room 36. Playback revealed fragmented whispers, faint sobs, and a voice repeating, "It's watching, it knows." The device immediately stopped functioning. Batteries drained, memory corrupted, almost as if the room itself resisted documentation. Investigators used thermal cameras, capturing fleeting forms in the room's corners. The shapes resembled human silhouettes but vanished the instant anyone looked directly. Shadows stretched unnaturally, crawling along walls, sometimes forming outlines that appeared alive. Even the most skeptical officers were unsettled. A hidden compartment beneath the bedframe revealed photographs of the room itself. Bed made, lamps on, yet with subtle differences. Chairs rotated slightly, windows ajar when previously closed. The dates spanned decades, some predating the motel's construction. Fingerprints on the photos could not be traced to any guest, staff, or investigator. Guests reported fleeting figures in the hallway outside their rooms, whispers calling their names, shadows leaning over them while asleep. Attempts to capture these moments on camera failed. Devices malfunctioned, memory cards corrupted, batteries drained inexplicably. The legend of Room 306 continued to grow. Staff spoke in hushed tones. Management officially closed the room, yet unexplained activity persisted. Stories suggested an unseen intelligence, observing and interacting in subtle, terrifying ways. Some theorized that Room 306 acted as a threshold between the living and something else. Others speculated it was cursed, trapped in a loop of residual energy from events never fully recorded. Paranormal investigators were called but could not explain the phenomena. Every hypothesis collapsed under new anomalies. Even today, travelers report strange occurrences nearby. Guests describe being watched, hearing footsteps in empty hallways, and faint whispers they cannot comprehend. Room 306 exists both physically and in legend. It is a place that eludes understanding, defies logic, and remains hauntingly present. Evidence is fragmented, chilling, and undeniably real. Every story adds to the mystery, Guests who stay feel the weight of the unknown, oppressive air, lingering whispers, objects moving independently, and shadows that seem almost alive. Room 306 is not merely a room, it is a location outside conventional understanding, where reality itself bends. Perhaps room 306 is not just a room. Perhaps it is a warning. Some doors, once opened, can never be closed. Some rooms, once entered, leave marks that linger far beyond the walls. Some cases leave behind only one thing: last evidence. Before we end, remember, if you want to uncover more chilling cases like this one, subscribe to Last Evidence and turn on notifications. Each story brings you closer to the truth behind the unexplained, the unsolved, and the horrifying. Room 306 waits, and it will continue to wait, for the next guest.